Hello my lovely stitchy friends, how are you all doing? This is Mika recording my 11th Flosstube video for you, and today is Friday, May the 5th, which is quite a special day in the Netherlands because it is the day where we celebrate our national freedom, especially the end of World War II in 1945. Yesterday, May the 4th, which is also Star Wars Day, I know, happy celebrating to you Star Wars fans. Yesterday we remembered the people who have fought and fallen for our country in the big wars of the 20th century. And today, following that, we celebrate the freedom that we have, which is always something special. I don't know about you, but I was born in a free country, raised in a free country. I have never experienced war or a lack of freedom, and that is such a blessing, and it is good to not take that for granted and to have a day in the year where you stand still and think about that. And also today I am filming another update for you guys because it has been 2 months, so I would like to update you on March and April on my stitching. I hope this update finds you well. I hope those of you who are participating in Stitchmania, are having a lot of fun. I have to admit that I'm a teeny tiny bit envious at all your beautiful new starts, the fabrics and the threads and the designs. It looks amazing, and I am enjoying that alongside you from the sidelines. Stitchmania is not something that would be wise for me to participate in. I don't think I could handle that, and my life outside of stitching is maniac enough as it is already. I told you in my last update that work had been extremely busy in the winter months. I was hoping that it would quiet down after the end of the first quarter, but that has unfortunately not happened. It's still very busy, lots of things to do, and by now I am not expecting things to quiet down before September, when our trip to South America begins. So, you know, no Stitchmania for me, but stitching, yes. Let's update you on the past 2 months. I told you at the end of my previous video 3 things. One, I was gonna experiment with a monthly rotation and see how I would like that. 2, I would be stitching on Blue Red Mira for the month of March, following the Stitch from Stash events that Stephanie hosted, Miss Oh So Crafty. And in April, I would devote my time to Spanish diamonds. That was the plan that I left you with last time. And in March, I did indeed spend the entire month on Blue Red Mira, and that was lovely. This is what she will look like as a finished piece. This is a blue conversion done by a lovely lady called Beverly, who has a blog called Stitchin Smiley. This is her conversion, not mine. You should definitely check her out. She has done various versions of red, a purple version, a blue version, and at the moment she is stitching up a turquoise version of red. And I am following that with a lot of interest. So this is what red will look like once finished. I will put a picture in here of where you saw her the last time I showed her on Flosstube. And this is what red looks like now. Ta-da-da! She has a face. Say hello. Hello. Sorry, bad joke. As you can see, I have started her face and finished her face. I just have a little bit of backstitching to do on her lips. I started working on her chest, and I did quite a big chunk of the upper part of her dress. Now, I worked on her for a month, and this doesn't really look like a month's work, but trust me, there are hundreds of teeny tiny 1/1 skein stitches in her. And that was quite a challenge. But I'm very happy that her face is done and her neck is almost done. And yeah, next time she comes up into rotation, I will do again what I did this month. I will alternate between skin stitches and dress stitches. That was the only way of keeping my sanity with this piece. Now there are a few things that I would like to tell you about Blue Red while I find a position to hold her next to me comfortably. The first thing is that I did something stupid while stitching her face. Blue Red for me was the first time that I stitched a face 1/1. And you know, it's very easy to lose track of all those teeny tiny stitches and checking it with a pattern which is designed for 2/2, and well, you know what I mean. So I thought, let's be smart and let's put in some reference points to help myself. So what I did was I stitched the outline, I backstitched the outline, I should say, and I put in the stitches for her lips and her brow, her eye, and her black backstitched lashes. Now, the outline backstitched was definitely a good reference. That definitely helped me. The lips and especially the eye, not so much. Because what happened, and I should have thought of this, of course, but I didn't. While I was stitching or filling in the skin stitches surrounding her eye, there was these little bits of thread ends on the back in black. And as I was stitching and pulling my needle through, little bits of black fluff would travel with my needle to the front of the fabric. Now, and when you're working, you know, up close to a project, you don't really notice that at first. But there was this one evening in March where I had done the stitches underneath her eye, and I put her away for the evening. And the next time I took her out, I was walking towards the place where I had stored her, and I was looking at her and I thought to myself, she looks sick. She looks like, I don't know, like hangover or, you know, extremely, I don't know. She doesn't look good. And what had happened, because of all these little bits of, you know, black fluff that had traveled to the front, she had this huge big black bag under her eyes. So she did indeed look extremely exhausted. And that looked ridiculous. I mean, you have this beautiful lady with this smug expression and showing off the beautiful dress that she's wearing. She cannot look like she has a hangover. So I pulled out all the skin stitches underneath her eye, which was a pain in the butt, of course, but it had to be done. And then I had to figure out a way to keep these, you know, thread ends from traveling to the front with my needle. And what I came up with was this. I know it looks ridiculous, right? But it did do the trick. I just put these Needleminders, these tiny little magnets, on top of the thread ends on the back, and it worked out fine. So for any of you who are thinking along the same lines that I did, don't do it. Just stitch the skin stitches first. Good afternoon. I need some coffee apparently. And then put in the eyes and the lips and the back stitch. I will definitely remember that for next time. That was a valuable lesson to learn. There's one other thing that I would like to mention about this lady, and that has nothing to do with her eyes, but with her dress. This is the upper part of her dress. And there are two Karen water lilies used in her dress. One is the medium sort of jeans blue that you see going over here, and the other is this gray area, these gray areas that you see going over here. If you are stitching or planning on stitching this, I would advise you to have a careful look at the Karen water lilies threads you are getting, because the threads that I got did not match this piece at all. And I'm going to show you what I mean. The original red design calls at this point for Water Lily 72, which is midnight, which is cold midnight. The conversion, here is the materials list, calls instead of 72 for 73, which is called charcoal. And I will show you what these threads look like. This is midnight. I hope that shows up somewhat correctly. It is gray with bits of dark and lighter purple in it, which is fine for the original version of red, but would not match, obviously, the blue version. And this is charcoal, number 73. Now, if you look at the stitched area, or if you look at the area that Stitchin Smiley stitched with this color, you see a medium gray, leaning towards a darker gray, but mostly medium gray with tiny specks of grayish blue in that. And that is also what the original version of red looks like a bit. This thread, Caron Water Lily 73, is not medium gray. This is dark gray with dark blue, dark green, and dark purple. Nuh-uh. It is a gorgeous thread, and I hope it shows up correctly. This is a beautiful thread, but as soon as I had put 12, 15 stitches in, I thought to myself, this is not right. It looked almost ugly next to the other stitches that I put in. So I ripped them out and I started looking for a replacement that would better fit this medium gray color. And I found one. Let's see, how am I going to do this? This is Caron Water Lilies number 155, steel. And if you compare the two, this is steel. You will see that this is a lot lighter, and it is gray with little bits of jeans blue in it, let's say. This is the thread that I ended up using. And let me show you how those stitches look in the dress. Again, they are these parts, these gray parts. So, a word of advice for any of you who are either stitching blue-red or are planning to maybe stitch her sometime in the future. I have obviously no way of telling whether this is because of dye lot changes or whether there was some sort of mistake. I have no idea. Just be careful with this number 73 charcoal. That is blue-red Mira. That's what I spent my month of March on. And I was planning to spend my month of April on Spanish diamonds. But that did not happen. Something else happened at the end of March, and that not only interrupted my plans for Spanish diamonds, it also completely blew my Stitch from Stash budget. The lovely Amanda, that you all may know as Mrs. Milky Bar Kid, did a little destashing on her weblog. And I was, by pure coincidence, online on Instagram when she posted an update about that. So I immediately visited her blog and I saw that she had so many lovely hand-dye fabrics on sale. And I snatched up 5 of them. They were gigantically well priced. I mean, it was just a deal that I could not pass up. So I ended up buying 5 pieces of fabric from her. A Crafty Kitten piece, a Jobelan Designs fabric, and 3 pieces of Chromatic Alchemy. They came in, and obviously as soon as you get them out of the plastic and you lay them out on the table and you look at all these gorgeous colors, you get the itch to start something new. I mean, that's just how it works, right? I knew that as soon as I bought those fabrics. fine. So I took out my small collection of hand-dyed threads and I did a floss toss. No, I'm kidding. I laid them out on the table on top of the fabrics and I started playing around with the different combinations. And at some point I ended up with 2 Karen water lilies that I had in my stash and the Crafty Kitten fabric that Amanda had sent me. But these pieces are quite a bit smaller than what I usually stitch on. As you all know, I am usually attracted to the bigger projects. So when I buy a piece of hand-dyed fabric, I will usually go for at least a size 18 by 26 inches. The Crafty Kitten piece is, I should say, 13 by 18 inches. So that meant that I had to find something that would fit and also something that would, you know, be able to be stitched in a few hand-dyed variegated threads. I did not have anything like that in my stash, and that led me to browsing and going, you know, through my wish list and my Pinterest account, and I ended up with ink circles. I bought my first ever ink circles design. And it is this lovely small piece called Forest Flower. I believe off the top of my head this is a design that was published in 2016, if I'm not mistaken. It is not so big, it is 115 stitches square, and it uses 5 different shades of Gentle Arts thread. There is 2 greens for the green bits, there is 2 variegated browns for the diagonal lines, and there is a lighter color for these light swirls that circle around the centerpiece. I opted for 3 colors. 1 variegated for the green bits, another variegated one for the brownish diagonal lines, and a simple plain DMC for those swirls in the middle. And let me tell you, I have been stitching on nothing else for the past month, and I am close to finishing it. I'm so excited! Let me show you. Ta-da! This is my version of Ink Circles Forest Flower. You'll have to excuse the Q-snap and the fabric brits to protect the fabric. I am so in love with this design. Like I said, I had never stitched an Ink Circles pattern before, but it is so much fun. I am definitely more interested in that brand now. The piece of fabric is, like I said, a Crafty Kitten one. It is called Moonblush. And it is lovely, opalescent. It's a light pink fabric with little blotches of darker pink here and there. There's obviously no blue in this design. That's like a first, I think. But I loved initially how this fabric matched with this darker thread. This is a Karen Water Lilies called Elderberry Wine. It's number 192. And this is what that thread looks like. It is purple and green and teal verging on aqua. It is so freakishly beautiful. This is by now my favorite Karen Water Lilies. Before this one it was Mediterranean Blue, which I use in my Stitch Rovia stitch along for the border. But this thread, you guys, oh, so pretty. So pretty. I thought that I could maybe manage all the stitches for this one with one skein. I'm gonna need a second one, I'm afraid, but that's okay. I have, they look pretty much alike. They are from different dye lots, but they look pretty close to each other. So that is the first thread that I started using. And then, while I had just started on Forest Flower, my Color and Cotton package came in. Few floss tubers, among which Lindy Stitches and Ginger Gerald Stitcher, have been raving about her threads. So I got interested and I bought a one-time package. I'm not going to join any monthly floss clubs for now, but I wanted to try out a few of her threads. And when her package of 5 flosses arrived, among them was this gorgeous one. It's called Rainbow Fish. There you go. And it is beautiful green with little darker greens, lighter greens, verging on gray. I hope it will focus, by the way. This is obviously not a full skein. This is what I have left of it. And those are these diagonal stitches. As soon as that thread came in, I immediately thought of Forest Flower, and I said to myself, that is going to look great together. And I think it does. And then finally, for the swirls in the center, I am using a simple DMC color, 3747. So that is my ink circles piece so far. And I am in love with it, and I think I can finish it this month, which would be awesome because it would be my first finish for 2017. That is what I worked on for most of April. And then towards the end of April, just like happened in March, there was a huge temptation coming my way. And again, I blew my Stitch from Stash budget. This is not at all a recurring pattern, right? Not at all. I am nowhere near easily enabled. Yeah, right. This time though, I can put the blame on my mother. My mom is also a stitcher, as I've probably told you before. And there was a Friday morning towards the end of April when she called me and she said, hey, I am going to visit this and this local needlework shop. Would you like to come along? And I said, sure, fine. Now this shop is not like any other craft store in the Netherlands. We are quite big on craft stores, but they are usually about crochet, knitting and sewing. Those 3 crafts are very big in the Netherlands. Stitching, not so much. So there are only a few specialized embroidery shops left in the country, scattered all over the place. And one of them is about half an hour away from where I live. And the special thing about this shop is that it is beloved by both my mom as well as by Ingeborg, who you all know as A Stitch Too Far here on Flosstube. I was not yet very familiar with this store. I knew some things about it, but you know, I was intrigued. So when my mom said, do you want to come along? I said, sure, fine, let's go. And while I was waiting for her to pick me up, I quickly sent Ingeborg a message on Instagram. Hey, we are going to here and here. Should you be in the area or should you have some time? Well, at least I wanted to let you know. It didn't happen. It was a bit too short notice. So we will probably find another opportunity sometime in the future. But anyway, there's something special about this shop, and that is that the owner dyes her own hand-dyed threads. The shop is called Borduurparadijs, which translates to Stitching Paradise, and her threads are called Paradijsgaren, which means paradise threads. And let me tell you, they are worthy of the name. Oh my gosh. When you enter the shop, you are greeted by dozens and dozens of beautiful, brightly colored cottons and silks. It is indeed like a paradise. Oh, so pretty. Just wow. I think we spent 2.5 hours there. Something close to that. And after that we went for lunch. So we had a fantastic Friday, my mom and I. And there was one color in particular that immediately drew my attention as soon as I walked towards the wall where she had all the thread colors hanging. And that is this beautiful, beautiful color. That's showing up very accurately. This is a wonderful combination of aqua, green and purple, and it is called, that will of course not focus, It is called Zanshuisje, which is one of the more popular tourist attractions that we have in the Netherlands. And this is the one that just immediately drew me in. So pretty and so very much me. And then nobody else will understand this but you guys, so I can, tell this to you guys without any shame. As I was standing in the middle of the shop holding a couple of these skeins in my hands, my mind was going over all the patterns that I have in my stash and all the things that are on my wish list and all the designers that I love. And I was instantly yearning for a project to use this thread in. And so before I knew it, I was in the middle of the store. I took out my phone from my bag and I started browsing my favorite Etsy designers. No shame, right? Stitch from stash, what? Oh, I'm being a bad girl. Anyway, I ended up on the Etsy page of Northern Expressions Needlework. And I found a chart there, which I am going to show you in just a second, that immediately just clicked with me. It is this beautiful design. Shades of Gold. It is, if I'm not mistaken, the first one in her Shades of ... series. And it calls for 2 variegated threads to be used throughout the entire design. So I looked at this and I looked at the thread and I looked at it again, and then I went to the shop owner and I asked her, do you have a colorway that is like either a shade lighter than Zanshuisje or maybe a shade darker, so I could, combine the two and stitch this piece. And she pointed me to a couple of options, wow, among which was this one. It's called Noordzee, North Sea, which is the sea border of the Netherlands. And it is a shade, I should say. It is related to Zanshuisje, if you can use that word. But instead of the green bits that are in Zanshuisje, there is very dark purple bordering on black in this one. These two look amazing together, I think. So I bought a couple of skeins of these threads, I should say. I purchased the PDF on the Northern Expressions Etsy page while I was still in the shop, so that it would hopefully be in my email once I got home later that afternoon. And then after my mom and I had gone to lunch and we came home, it was indeed in my email. I downloaded it, I pulled out my collection of hand-dyed fabrics, and there was one fabric that was both big enough, because this is a big piece, of course, and that was, in my opinion, gonna fit perfectly with these threads. It is called Aphrodite by Polstiches. It is a 28 count Jobelan, and I have made a little start since then. And let me organize these hanging threads, because otherwise it looks so stupid. You cannot see what I can see, na 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 na. Oh, I'm sorry. I need lunch and coffee. Anyway, you ready for my latest start? Ta-da! That shows up pretty accurate, actually. This is my start on Shades of Gold by Northern Expressions Needlework on Polstiches Aphrodite using Paradijsgaren from Holland. Or, sorry Ingeborg, I should say the Netherlands. If you haven't seen Ingeborg's wonderful little talk about, Holland, the Netherlands, you should definitely head over to her channel. It's too much fun. This is the top left corner. So this bit here is this. And the outer border is the darker gold shade in this design. So that's this bit, which I'm stitching in North Sea. And the lighter bits inside here are done in the thread that first drew my attention, which was Zaanshuisje. I am in love with this. Seriously, seriously in love with this. And the nice thing about these threads is that she sells them in different varieties and different thicknesses. She sells these colors in cottons and in silks. And she also sells them in a variety where one strand is as thick as 2 strands of DMC. That is the variety that I bought. So I can just stitch with one thread. Amazing, 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 amazing. So yeah, a very unplanned start, but I think this is going to be a really pretty one. That is what happened in March and April. So now let's talk about my plans for the upcoming 2 months, May and June. First things first, I am going to finish Forest Flower. I think I am definitely able to get this finished this month, which would be awesome because, like I said, it would be my first finish of the year, and it would also mean some much needed credit from my Stitch from stash. I am by now almost 100 euros in the red, so I don't really have any hopes of getting in the black before this challenge ends in about 2 months. But you know, this challenge has been very good for me in the sense that I am much more conscious about how I spend my stitching money, and even though I'm spending more than what I, you know, originally planned, I am spending way less than I did the last 2 years. So first things first, Forest Flower, and then I'm obviously going to continue stitching on Shades of Gold. I mean, that's a given. But I am also going to bring back a piece from last year that I said I would not stitch on in 2017. And that is Donna Stitch's Frozen. Sorry, the paper is all wrinkled. And why I am bringing this one back is a really cool story, I think, at least. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that I visited my best friend, Sasha, last weekend. Sasha lives in the south of Germany, so we don't get to see each other very often. But every now and then, one of us will fly to the other one, and we will have an amazing time. This time, I visited her, and normally we have these very active schedules, let's say. We go places, we go to the cinema, we go visit here, visit there, we do all sorts of things. And this time, we had 4 days that were very relaxed, very laid back, and involved a lot of stitching. I taught my best friend how to stitch. And while I was doing that, I also taught her 9-year-old daughter how to stitch. I'm done for the year, guys. I mean, I'm good, right? No, I'm just kidding. Frozen, getting back to Frozen, this is a pattern that I bought last September. And I also bought the Tangled pattern that Donna Stitch has for sale. And I bought those two together as a birthday gift for myself and for Sasha, because we both have our birthdays in September. Sasha had never stitched before, but she was definitely interested in getting a cross-stitch project going on. And we both love Disney, and especially we both love Tangled and Frozen. I gave Tangled to her, and I did Frozen for myself. And I made, back in the day, a teeny tiny little start on it. I think this is the right way up. It has been so long that I don't remember now. This is a teeny tiny start on Frozen. And after working on it for about a week, I think, I put it away because I hate this fabric. This is a piece of 18 count opalescent Zweigart Ada, and it is a pain in the butt to stitch with. Even after washing it gently and putting fabric softener on it, it is still, can you hear that? It is still so stiff and still so rough. I was not enjoying this at all. So after working on it for just a few days, I put it away and I decided to, not include it in my 2017 plans. But when I traveled to Sasha last weekend, beforehand we had somehow gotten to talk about stitching, and I had promised her that I would bring the threads, the DMC threads that she would need for Tangled, because she was still very interested in starting this one. So I did that. I bought the DMC threads. I brought a project card with me. And as soon as I was with her, we visited a local needlework shop close to where she lives, and we tried to pick out a piece of fabric. They had a few linens on offer and 2 counts of even weave, 20 count and 25 count. No Ada, unfortunately, and nothing smaller than 25. So we decided to get a big enough piece of 25 count even weave to stitch on 2/2. We got back home and we spent a lovely hour getting everything ready. We put the threads on the project card. I showed Sasha how these patterns generally work and how you can find the middle. She sewed around the edges to keep them from fraying, and then she sat down on the couch with me. I taught her the loop start. I showed her how railroading works, and off she went. And let me tell you, she is a natural. By the end of 2 days, maybe 3, she had already finished 1/3 of a page. She picked it up instantly and she just went and went and went and kept going. And we had so much fun with that. And while she was stitching on Tangled and I had brought ink circles, forest flower with me, her 9-year-old daughter entered the room. And she saw us sitting there being crafty and she asked me, Mika, could you teach me how to stitch as well? And I said, sure, fine, no problem, So we cut a little square piece of the leftover fabric from Sasha's project. We downloaded a little free heart pattern from Google. Her daughter picked a thread color that she liked, and off she went as well. And there was the 3 of us sitting on the couch with a movie in the background, having a wonderful time stitching. I cannot tell you how much I enjoyed that, but I'm sure you guys will all understand. We had so much fun. It was so cool to see. It was so lovely to live those moments. And when I saw how much fun Sasha was having with Tangled, I said to her, how would you like it if I would pick up Frozen again and I would stitch that for you as a gift to you as a companion piece? She very much liked that idea, so now that I'm back home, that is what I'm going to do. After I have finished Forest Flower, I am going to restart Frozen. I'm not going to do it obviously on the 18 count Ada because I thoroughly disliked that fabric, and it would also cause a huge big size difference because Sasha is stitching her Tangled on 25 count 2/2. So instead I have bought a fresh piece of white 28 count Jobelan, because Jobelan is absolutely my favorite fabric to stitch on, I think by now. Jobelan and 32 count Murano. Those are my favorites. It will end up a little tiny bit smaller, of course, because 28 count versus 25, but that's fine. So those are my plans for the coming 2 months, and I'm very excited about those plans. And now, before we go, there is something else that I want to do. It starts with the letter G, and it ends in giveaway. I'm gonna do my first ever Flosstube giveaway. You will have seen that I did not put it in the title and that I did not put it in the description box. This is a total surprise for you all, and I am, for obvious reasons, of course, sticking this to the end of the video. I want to do a tiny giveaway for 2 reasons. One, because I I had my first Flosstube anniversary this past March. And secondly, because by now I have passed 1,500 subscribers and I'm getting close to 1,600. And that, you guys blow my mind. I am not exactly a very active Flosstuber. I update once every 2 months. But still, there are so many of you who enjoy my videos and who write the sweetest comments and who just keep flocking in. And oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all your likes and your comments and your subscriptions and your sweet words. So I want to give something back. This giveaway consists of a Mirabilia pattern. This one. This is Athena, Goddess of Wisdom, number 97. Let me bring her in close so you can get a proper look. This is a brand new, or not brand new release, but a brand new pattern. The seal is still on it. It has not been opened, it has not been stitched on. The only thing I've done is tear the price tag off. So this is a completely new, unused pattern. And this is a beautiful, very luxurious lady. Of course, she is Athena, she's a goddess. She deserves wonderful threads. There's DMC obviously going in her. Mill Hill beads, Mill Hill treasures, one color of Krynic, one color of Rainbow Gallery Whisper, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, if I'm counting correctly, colors of Karen collection. That's the mirror that I'm going to give away. And I'm throwing in a little small complimentary gift as well. This lovely little needle case. This is a needle case that I got myself as a complimentary gift when I ordered Grime guards from SHOPMAEDesigns. It is a beautiful, lovely blue fabric, and when you open the ribbon, there is a small surprise inside. Because not only do you get the needle case, I'm also including 2 Needleminders, a blue one and a green one, in honor of the favorite colors of me and Sasha. These Needleminders are by Lister Stitches on Etsy. So that is what my giveaway consists of. A Mirabilia pattern, a needle case, and 2 Needleminders. These things will all go to one winner. And let's establish some rules about this giveaway. Let's see if I can sum this up correctly. First of all, I will ship internationally no matter where you live in the world. I live in the Netherlands, so if you live on the other side of the world, it will probably take some time to get to you, but I will post internationally. Number 2, if you are under the age of 18 and you win, I will require your parents or your guardian's permission to give me your address. Number 3, I absolutely do not want to see the word giveaway in your comment or anything related to that. If you do that, I will exclude you from the drawing. And I'm not saying this to be mean or anything, but I want this giveaway to go. I want these prizes to go to somebody who, who is a loyal viewer of my channel. I haven't mentioned it in the title. I haven't mentioned it in the description box. It is all the way at the end of this video, so you will only get to this point if you watch my entire video. And those are the people that I would like to get this gift. So don't mention giveaway or any word that is related to that in the comment. Rule number 4, what I do want you to mention if you want to be entered into the drawing is this. Answer me this question: what is at the moment your favorite song to dance to? And you can interpret dancing as widely as you want. It can be your favorite party song when you're in the club. It can be your favorite routine when you are in dance class. It can be the song that gives you energy and you put on maximum volume while you are doing the dishes or doing other housework. It can be a song that comes on the radio when you're in the car, and when it comes on, you are absolutely unable to sit still behind the wheel of your car. Interpret it as widely as you want, but answer me the question, what is at the moment your favorite song to dance to? And finally, rule number 5, I will leave this giveaway open until June 1st. It is now May 5th, so that is the rest of the month, which is a little over 3 weeks. I think that should be okay. So make sure that you comment before June 1st, and then I will try to find some time in the first week of June to pick a winner. That is my giveaway, and that is all that I have to share today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have been stitching away happily while listening to me. I wish you a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Stitch Mania, or otherwise a wonderful month of May. And I hope to see you guys again soon. Ciao, my friends!